All right. Would you like to state your name and name, major, pronouns?
Oh, okay. My name is Tate Bernard.
Okay,
and my
that was
pronouns
disgusting.
are he, they, and I'm a communication arts major.
Interesting.
An
Okay.
illustration major.
We love to see it. Is it an illustration major though, right now?
What do you mean? Is it an illustration major right now?
With all your classes that aren't about illustration.
What do you mean? Typography is Are you saying figure drawing is not illustration?
It's not book illustration.
I didn't know that illustration was only about books.
You said that!
I never said that ever!
What? Isn't this what you're talking about when you were like, oh, I'm not doing anything in my classes?
We can ignore that. No, but no, I mean like, well, okay. Variety. Like, everything I'm doing is helpful to my major, but is it what I want to be doing?
Yeah.
Well, because also, like, I mean, technically, commerce actually isn't technically an illustration major.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like, broader because you can do visual effects and stuff in it. But we don't need to talk about
Anyway, segue to books, though.
I knew you were trying to segue, and I was like, no. No.
Alright, we are gathered here today to discuss you reading the Lunar Chronicles in basically exactly a week. Because I think you texted me that you started
5 days.
Yeah, in more than a week. Or in
less.
less than a week. Because you texted me that you started reading Cinder on a Wednesday, because I was at Trapeze, and I was absolutely gobsmacked.
I started Cinder. Oh, it was exactly 7 days. I started Cinder on April 1st, and I ended Winter on April 7th.
That is so... I don't think I read them in that speed. But I wasn't listening to the audiobooks. So, yeah.
They're good.
When I reread them over the summer, I reread Cinder and Winter in, like, a 3-day time span. And I was like, damn, I don't remember these being so many days. I was like, there's always, like, the books I know are good, but then, like, I haven't read them since, like, freshman year. So then I'm like, oh, do they still hold up? And I was just like, thank God these ones still hold up, because I recommend them way too often. All right, well, how do we? Let me see.
I can start about why I even did it.
Yeah,
because you didn't know that I was planning on reading the book.
I didn't, and also I wasn't gonna bring it up again because I almost changed my mind after the last conversation we had about it, where I was like, you should read them, and then I was like, I actually don't want her to read that, and then you started reading them, and I was like, oh no.
No, because I think actually, so our last conversation about it was like, you're like, I really want you to read these books, but now I'm retracting my statement. I actually don't want you to read those books because of how my reaction was to your guys' previous series.
Yeah.
Which actually, like, okay, just one comment about that.
You want to clear your name?
I re-looked at my ratings, and I rated them actually very well compared to other. Like, I rated like a 3-star.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good for my picky ass. So, like,
your ratings weren't the problem. I think the exact words were, I care more about this octopus than any character in this other book. And I said,
who is the octopus?
From some other book you were reading at the time.
No way, I said,
yes!
I'm working to ignore that.
From the octopus, and he dies at the end, and it was really sad, and I get that.
That's a horrible comment that I've grown from in a year.
You go, I don't.
I've grown.
Apology video. Where's the ukulele?
I have a violin.
Oh my god.
Well, anyways, but
I love that that's the comment that I was like holding on to, and you're like, I said that?
I forgot. It's like me breaking up with somebody.
Anyway. So yeah, that made me a little worried about the Lunar Chronicles. But
great comment, because all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna read them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, she doesn't want me to.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna read them.
Okay.
But so what ended up happening is I read a book called The Cartographers on audiobook, and I managed to push through, and it was the worst book I've ever read. Like, it wasn't actually the worst book, but it just was like, I was like, ugh, I honestly probably should lower my rating of it. Mm-hmm. No, it's solid. It was like a 2, maybe.
Yeah.
That was being generous. And so I really still wanted to keep reading audiobooks, and I was like, I need something now, and my expectations are low because I just read a shitty book, so anything can be better than this. And then I saw, for some reason, I don't know what came up, but I saw Cinder on audiobook was available, and it was I was like, it's April 1st. So also I can make a joke out of this if I tell Morgan. And then I was like, also, it's so funny if I just start this and I don't tell her, because then I won't have to update her for when I first start it. And if I first start it and I don't like it, she doesn't have to know.
Yeah, you just like never mention it again.
Yeah. Oh, with my loud mouth, I didn't know if that was actually gonna happen. But anyways, and so I started it, and I realized that I had already listened to this audiobook author before, who did Fourth Wing.
She did?
Yes, that's why
Oh
Fourth
my
Wing was so
God.
good.
Yeah. No, she's a really good. Her male voices, I like don't piss me off, and I'm like, these are like actually like yeah.
Well, her accents. She did accents throughout the entire 4 books, and I was like, these are spot on. Like, it honestly, like the way she like was able to, I think also in some way her the audiobooks made the books better for me. Like, they actually increased my score.
They were very like atmospheric, I think, because there's so many characters from different regions, and like they all have accents, and like yeah, like when I was reading it, I wasn't able to do like the French accent or like whatever like when like Lunars have, and then like the other people are from China, so it's just like there's accents like everywhere.
Yeah, and then there was like one like attendant for the wedding that was like Indian, I think. And like she had an Indian accent in there. But it also, there's so many characters in the book, it helped me keep track of everything too really well. Which was super nice. But then I got in 20% within within just like a very quick span of time.
Yeah.
I was listening to this and I was like, I need to tell Morgan that I'm going to be reading all these books.
No, I think you told me at a good time, because I would have wanted to be there for like the twists at the end, but yeah, like, and you actually had like stuff to tell me, because if you told me in the first chapter, I would have been so annoyed. For like the first hour, I would have been like, so thoughts, and you would have been like, I haven't even met him yet. Like, can you calm down? Like,
yeah, no, I definitely like 20% is when I know if I'm like if I'm going to be able to finish a book or not, which is why I feel like I have a higher rate of DNF than you, because you like to just like hold through, and I know I cannot hold through past 20%. And I was like, I won't have to hold through. I'm just going to power.
Aww. So what did you rate Cinder?
I rated it 4 out of 5.
That's good. Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, I'm not saying you need to change any opinions. I'm just laying it out there that Cinder and Kai is Amanda's favorite is Amanda's favorite couple. We love all the couples, but like that those are her people, so we're gonna, if you say something bad about them, I'm cutting it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, let's not have too harsh of opinions on them. But I don't think you will, because I never really heard you say anything like bad about them. But
I kept them to myself. No one cared.
But no, I'm so glad you liked Cinder. I feel like sometimes in like long series, once I've read all of them, I usually don't reread like the first one. I find that with like with this and like with Fablehaven and like Harry Potter and stuff, I almost never reread the first one. So then it's like tough, because then when other people are reading them, I'm like, is the first one that good? Because in my mind, I'm like, they get amazing when all the characters come in. So then I'm like, oh my god, what if like Tate found Cinder really boring because it's just Cinder and Kai and like there's no other characters in it yet. But then I remembered like, no, because those books like drew us all in. So like obviously they have to be good.
Yeah, well honestly that's for me I don't read that way. If I have to read a series, like I have to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, like, if I had to read if I wanted to read a Harry Potter book, like, if I wanted to read book 5, I'd read 1 through 5. That's why, like, with the Narnia books, I actually haven't read, like, the last book, because there's so much time in between that I have between reading it, that I'm like, oh, well, now I have to reread this, this, and then by the time I get to that last book, I'm like, I'm out, I'm good.
Yeah.
But no, this one, I honestly will say, I don't know. Should I say what my favorite, like, I think Cinder might be, like, it's high up there out of all the 4 books. It was, yeah.
That's so cute.
I think your original statement of Winter being my favorite, being my favorite, was actually incorrect.
I might have said Winter, but I thought
you said Cress and Winter might get you
5.
said 5 stars. Yeah.
I think Cress is my favorite. So, just because like all the characters are together, but also it's not like stressful the entire time, and you're not like in the brink of war.
I was stressed.
Yeah, but you're stressed in a different way. Like, it's not like, oh, people are, like, actively dying. And, like...
They were in a desert.
That's true.
They were
That's true. But you were like,
for...
they're not gonna die.
I
like...
mean, and Scarlet got kidnapped.
Yeah, but
and, like, lost her finger. And, like, was in a cage. Or, and half that book, you didn't even know what was happening. So, like, it would go, like, not to jump to, like, to Cress already, but, like, the next chapter would happen, and I would hear, like, not Scarlet for the chapter, and then it would happen again, and I'm like, so,
you're like, where is she?
Like, I actually have never wanted, like, I normally love it when it's, like, the same character over and over, but, like, maybe we could just pop her in there.
Yeah, no, it was, like, it would be, like, Cress, and then Thorn, and then Cinder, and then Kai, and then Cress, and it's, like...
or it'd be, like, Cinder. I'm like, so, what is everybody else doing?
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know, I feel like Cress has more, like, calm, or, like, more, like, normal interactions between the characters, because in Winter it just feels like it's just, like, action almost the entire time.
Winter gave the third Hunger Games movies.
Yeah, it's just, like, action and like, it's just, like, one after another, and I'm like, can we have a calm breath? Like, and that's what I feel like, Cress, you get, like, all of the interactions between the characters in, like, a calm setting before it's, like, oh, now we're going to war. Like that. But anyway, so Cinder's your favorite?
I think Scarlet is my favorite.
Yeah. I got that vibe when you were reading them. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think like I'm always gonna be a little werewolf girly.
Yeah.
But I think Scarlet might actually be my favorite character, just because, like, the French accent was really funny to listen to. But also just, like, her herself is like she's gonna do what she wants to do. Yeah. She knows what she wants. Like, she has who she cares about, and she, like, gives no fucks. I just really appreciated that, because it wasn't like you had to, like, deal with, like, any insecurity. It was just, like, nice to be able to just have, like, a character that was like, she has what she wants.
I think she was a really good, like, juxtaposition right after Cinder, where it's like she, like, doesn't really have, like, autonomy over anything that's happening in her life, and, like, she also, like, has to listen to her stepmother all the time, and she's, like, very unsure of everything, and, like, she's not, like, as, like, shy or anxious as Cress, but, like, yeah, she's still just very, like, a 16-year-old girl, whereas, like, I feel like Scarlet comes in, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're, like, a woman, and you, like, know what you want, and you're very confident.
Yeah. Like, I was like, she should be old. She said it was 20, and I'm like, you're giving 24. Like, you're giving, like, or maybe like 22.
Yeah.
But just like
she's giving, like, your age.
Really? I mean, I just don't think I'd be managing a whole farm. As someone who has a farm.
Yeah. You gotta get your ass out.
I just don't think, I mean, like, it's interesting also hearing how a writer talks about farm management. Not that this is something you want to hear about, but it's interesting to hear about someone talking about farm management in it. Well, I think one thing I noticed about the book, which the author, everything felt really well researched, but there were certain areas that I was like, I feel like this could have had more development, which is, like, when you're talking about farming, and the way some of the things talked about was still very traditional. Even though I feel like they could have, where were some, like, water domes, some interesting irrigation management. But that's just me being really...
But wouldn't that been more of, like, a commercial farm than, like, I feel like, because it's not, like, a huge... Yeah, but she's selling, like, in her village. Like,
but do you know how much you gotta make to sell in your village?
True. I don't know.
Like, unless you have a ton of laborers.
Yeah. I would also say, I don't know if she was originally running the farm completely by herself, because she did, like, have her grandma.
Right.
So I think it was more like she was just, like, thrust into, like, I guess I have to do this myself now.
Right. I guess. But her grandma's fucking old.
Well, I don't remember if they ever said, like, I kind of viewed her as being, like 60 or 70.
That's old.
I guess, but, like...
I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that, because my dad is turning, like, 67 this year. Actually... Oh, soon. Oh, in 4 days.
Oh my god.
Thank God.
But yeah, no, I was worried because I was like, I didn't know how much research she did on, like, France, and I was like, oh, Tate might come in here and be like, this is all wrong. Like,
so I read some articles actually because I was curious about, because when she kept going to different locations, I was curious how much research she did, and I was reading some articles about like her talking about why she chose locations and like why. I don't know if I actually sent you one of the things I was reading. I was thinking about
but I've read some of those. It's that her editor was from France, right?
Yeah, and then also she was just talking about a lot how like why she chose France, and that's because like originally a lot of like stories and fairy tales about werewolves originated there.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's one reason why she chose that location. And then yeah, I mean, like, we didn't spend much time in France. I didn't really have any. I think for me, my only issue is like in Cress. I wish when we were in Africa, first off, I wish we had clarified a country in Africa.
Yeah,
I was like, why did we just call it Africa?
I think that is because there's only like 7 countries now. And which I didn't even realize the first time reading it. I thought that every time they mentioned like the world leaders, that it was just like kind of like the UN. Like I was like, oh, these are just like the small group of the world leaders, but there's more. And then on reread, I was like, wait, like this is a world where like, and that's why it's like the Eastern Commonwealth is all of the Asian countries, which is why it's like such a big deal. And I think there's like,
and France isn't actually France; it's just the European.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think Africa's part of that, so there's no more countries.
Because I heard that and I was like, so...
Yeah, like...
But I guess another comment with that was, like, I thought it was really cool, like, why she chose to focus on, like, the Sahara and, like, parts of, like, Africa and stuff. But I wish, like, we had, like, a little glimpse to, like, or not just, like, run down towns.
Yeah.
I was like, this is kind of, like, it's cool. It's, like, an interesting setting to play with, but it is just a little overused.
Yeah, sometimes. I could also see, like, this is set in, like, 200 years. I'd be like, there's no more. Africa's still like that.
Yeah, well, like, I guess for me, it's, like, I think, like, I mean, nothing's perfect, so I definitely can still imagine that there are places that are not as civilized necessarily, but, like, do we have to make it Africa every time?
No, I could get that, yeah.
Like, aren't we talking about a rundown town in Europe? We're not.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I mean, the Eastern Commonwealth wasn't doing well with the plague, but that's run down in a different
Africa.
way.
That's where it started.
Yeah, but I was just saying it's run down in a different way.
I guess, yeah.
But I forgot where we were going with that. Oh yeah, but yeah, I was just worried with the France that I was like, if they say like some town, or if they start saying naming cities and you're like those aren't near each other, like
everything's
like
really
that.
Close by.
But oh yeah, it's like England in that sense.
Well, yeah, because like I was 3 hours from Paris.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like, Dijon. Yeah. And then like Lyon, for instance, Lyon is like an hour and a half. Like Bretagne, which is on the coast, was like 2.5 hours from me or something. Like everything is like
that's so cool.
Well, that's
just
why
getting to like drive anywhere. Like
yeah, I mean, most people don't drive. You take the TGV. But that's why Europeans will come to America and they'll be like, I'm gonna go to California, and then I'm gonna drive over to DC.
Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna see the Statue of Liberty, and you're like, no. But yeah, no. Apparently, she wanted like Kai and the Eastern Commonwealth to have like a really big like his decisions to like really affect the rest of the world, which is why she like brought it down to only like 7 main countries, so that like the decisions he made like was actually going to affect everyone else.
And he was 18.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there wasn't really a choice, but
it's hard for me. And Cress is 16.
We don't talk about no. Cress is 18. Cress is 18. We don't discuss it. We don't.
Okay,
they're all 18.
No, I know. I definitely aged them all up. The one thing that I didn't realize and kind of shocked me every time I was reading was the time jumps and how long everything took. Because I thought things took, like when they captured Kai on the ship, I was like, oh, it's been a couple days.
No, I remember doing the exact same thing. And then they were
like, they're like, you have been missing for like 3 weeks to a month. And I was like,
y'all have had
he's been fucking Cinder that whole time on that ship for a month.
No, he was so chillin'. He really didn't want to go back. Like this man was like, I don't.
I was like, that makes
to.
Yeah.
I mean, but they did have to like have a whole plan and everything. But I also remember doing that where I was like next day, and then I was like, oh wait, no, this is.
Well, I think it made things better for me because I love Kind Cinder, but I was a little worried with how much of the books they were apart, that their relationship was going to be very like lustful rather than actual love.
Yeah.
And so when they like were acting all like cozy on the ship immediately after he got kidnapped and everything, I was like, oh my god, it's been like 2 days since they got him. And then it ended with the month part, and I was like, oh, this is way more like understand, like that makes a lot more sense.
No, it's weird because it's like, through all of like Scarlet and most of Crest, I'm like shipping them, and then you realize that like they've literally only kissed once, and the last like they've barely interacted, and I'm just like, oh, like, so
like it was like a little crush that he had, and like all of a sudden like their lives became like totally intertwined.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely the like he fell first and she fell harder trope, or he fell first and harder.
I think
because that man was carrying around her foot, which okay, we're not there yet, but that was the funniest fucking when she goes in that room and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And then she's like, "Is that my foot?"
But doesn't he also propose to her with it, or like he like jokingly goes on one knee or something with it in winter, or am I misremembering? I don't know. He like gave her the foot back, and she threw it, and then she threw it off the balcony.
Yeah,
I was like, good. That thing must have stank. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not a real. It's metal.
Well, I know, but it's been dragged through like the dirt. Does she wear a boot on
it? Yeah.
So it gets probably. I don't know.
I mean, it can't like sweat or anything, so it's just metal. But it's probably like oily and grimy and stuff.
So it stank.
Sure. But yeah. Okay. So Cinder was 4 stars.
Yes.
Is that the highest did we make it to a 5 star?
So every single book was 4 stars.
Not even there like a 4.5?
I was very close on Scarlet, but again, I'm a little critiquer, and I would always have like a certain part that I wouldn't necessarily enjoy as much, and then it would like bring it down. But my level of enjoyment was the same throughout the entire series. That I was like, I feel like they're just all even.
I could see that.
Which I hate.
Say they all were 5s.
Yeah, or you could say that. Like I think like overall the series was just like really good, and I've never run into a book series where I like all the books almost equally.
That's like a no skip album. That's crazy.
No, yeah, that's why I was like, I feel like I don't want to argue between what one is. I mean, I think like maybe Scarlet could increase a little bit after like the reading, but I also just think like what is it about Scarlet that like frustrated me? What happened in that?
There was a lot. So Scarlet is one that I probably should reread because I was in the like group of people that I didn't necessarily like care when they started Scarlet and Wolf at the start. Like I kind of was just like, are you serious right now? Like, can we just get to the other people's perspective? And it wasn't until like over halfway through that I was like, okay, I'm actually like into their storyline. And it was probably until like the train, honestly. And I don't know, just because I was just so like I just really wanted to know what like Cinder and Kai and Thorn were doing the whole time. And I think that's also because you barely know Thorn's personality in the second one either, which I think is also just why like I don't choose to reread it.
Well, when I was reading about Thorn and Scarlet, I was like, I don't like him. Immediately, I was like, I don't like him. Well, because he came in, and at first when she came into his cell, I was like, who the fuck is this rando?
You didn't mention him at all, and I was like, so there's another guy here.
And then all of a sudden, like, they were talking about, like, taking his ship, and I was like, who the fuck is him? Just go! Yeah. I was like, why are you wasting your time with this, like, stupid man? She needed a ship! And I was like, he's sexualizing you? Like, what the hell? And then after a moment, I was like, oh, this is Flynn Rider.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was like, oh, and I was like,
you're like, who's this cocky motherfucker?
I was like, I don't remember Flynn Rider being like this. Also, you know what I found crazy? Her first draft of Scarlet happened before, or Scarlet or Cress, I can't remember which one. I think Cress happened before Tangled came out.
No.
Yes.
Yes. What?
So she walked into the theater and watched Tangled on theater, and she said, "That's my sarcastic white boy." Like, she literally was like,
That's
yes.
but she made him a thief though, and he's not like original. I'm so confused.
I'm telling you, no, because
that's crazy.
So at the end of winter, you should get the audiobook. Just
the interview, yeah. I listened
she
to
talks
that.
about that.
Oh, maybe I didn't listen to the whole interview.
But in the interview, she talks about how like she did the first draft of Scarlet. I forgot. I think it was Cress.
Yeah.
Before, like, I mean, she didn't publish it, but like she had the draft. I don't know if she made changes afterwards, but like, I don't know.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I feel like he's the one that's like the most like his like animated version. Or like the Disney version.
Maybe a leak happened and Disney was like, yes.
No, that's crazy. But yeah, no, but I also think that like you kind of need the whole Scarlet book so that when he changes, like after meeting Cress, it's like that much better.
It did make me like out of male characters, he might be my favorite male character. Because I feel like Wolf is just a little flat as a character. I love Wolf. No, I genuinely love Wolf, but I wanted him to have more. And I think what's cool about him kind of being this a little bit more flat of a character is because it really focuses on the fact that he is very animalistic and he has like certain animal priorities which are flat-minded because of survival. It's like you protect, you survive, and that's it.
I also just think he's been through so much trauma from like a young age that it's just like that's just like all he's ever known is being like a warrior, right? And he like was trained to like kind of in the same way as Jason, where it's like he was trained to like not love anybody or grow attachments because like they could have been used against him.
Yeah, no, I think it made sense. It just also made me be like, I wanted him to have other aspirations, or like I also kind of wanted him, like, I loved how quickly Scarlet and Wolf got close to each other, but I wanted like a little more time for him to have reason to be so. Like, I think that's why Scarlet could have been honestly a 5-star for me. It really could have if it had been longer.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Scarlet shouldn't have also been the same size as Cinder. I think that it also should have been 16 hours like
Cress.
Because like you've added characters. So I feel like you've added characters. I wanted Wolf and Scarlet to have more time together. Or honestly, I kind of wanted them to have Scarlet in custody at the whatever longer. When they took I wanted that
when the wolves took her.
I wanted that to be longer, and I wanted her to go through, I hate to say it, I wanted her to go through a little more suffering.
Yeah.
So then like there was more pressure on Wolf. I also kind of wanted like the severity of how much he betrayed her to be a little more.
Yeah, I agree with that because when I was I read Scarlet like with Amanda, like she was reading it out loud, and I don't know if I was just like not paying attention or I guess I just wasn't paying attention. When he like stabbed her in the back, I fully was like, no, but this is their plan, right? Like I was like, but this is their plan. Like I was like, they weren't planning to just walk in there and get the grant. Like if he walks in there with a girl, he's gonna have to say like he took her. So I fully like I didn't realize that it was supposed to be a betrayal until he saved her, and then she was like, "Oh, he didn't betray me," and I was like, "Wait, did he?" Like I was so confused.
I was confused to why she like was believing what he was saying, and that made me realize I was like, okay, so the author should have done two things. She either should have made the betrayal way more obvious, or made the Scarlet like knows what was going on, and then I feel like what really should have happened was like it was a plan, and then she was there longer and longer, and like it was like the ebbing realization of being like maybe I was tricked.
Maybe
here.
I just walked into this. That would have been good.
I think that could have added a lot more tension because like I felt a lot of tension to being like, oh my gosh, she might be tortured. Like, she saw her father
Mm-hmm.
get tortured, and I was like, that might also cause some empathy for her dad.
Yeah.
Who has been written off as just, like, this one-sided character. I'm like, maybe we can have a little empathy for someone who she's lost.
Yeah.
And play with that kind of emotion.
Do you think that that would have made it less interesting when she gets captured by the Lunars then?
Oh, that she's already been, like, tortured?
Mm-hmm.
Or... No, because the Lunars, it's, like, 10 times worse. Anyone getting caught by the Lunars made me absolutely... I have never been that stressed.
I know!
about somebody getting got. And everyone...
When I tell you that this villain might be, like, the most... Like, the villain that I'm, like, the most terrified of. Like, her and, like, maybe, like, Snow from the Hunger Games. Because, like, most other villains, I'm like, oh, you're, like, not that smart. But I'm like, no, she's terrifying. And I'm like, this, like, anytime, oh my god, it was so bad. Like, the stress.
I will say, if you end, I can't say much because if you end up reading this form by Brandon Sanderson, but the villain in there, he's literally called, I think his name's literally Lord Ruler, because we love Brandon. He's just, like, a silly, goofy thing, but, like, he's kind of crazy. And, like, what ends up being, like, the issue throughout those books ends up being, like, really stressful. And I remember being, like, because the stress in there is just confusion. And, like, and everything. So I can't talk about too much.
No, I was just always worried, because I was just, like, literally nothing is off the table. Like, she will do anything. And I'm just, like, fantastic. Like, I was like, oh god. But yeah. And then, honestly, like, how you feel about the books, like, being like, I just love all of them, but, like, no one's, like, better or worse. I feel like that's how I feel with the couples, because in the fandom, like, everyone has their favorites, and I'm like, I could literally be put on a debate team and argue for any couple. Like, I'm just like, the things, like, because it's like, I think for me personally, if I was gonna choose one of, like, if we're just talking about the guys, if I was gonna choose the guys, I would want either Wolf or Thorn. But then at the same time, I'm like, I'm not, but like Jason is perfect for Winter, and I'm like, he's not perfect for me.
Right.
But I'm like, but I love them together because, like, yeah, like, he's who she needs. And with, like, Kai, I'm like, he's just, like, perfect all around. I'm like, he's just amazing, okay? But yeah, like Kai and Jason, I'm like, no, like, they're perfect for their partners, but, like, that doesn't, like, I don't need them. Except that's Kai's, how I feel. Like, I love how he grows to be so sassy. I'm like, he's so funny.
I don't feel like he grows. He was always sassy.
Yeah, I love him. Like,
yeah, no, I definitely have opinions about which couple I like the best, though.
Well, the floor is yours.
Yeah. I think it's kind of difficult because, like, I feel like I see, like, all the little, like, things I don't like or do like, but I think, like, couple-wise, it's, like, Scarlet and Wolf, or it's Cress and Thorn, but I think it's Scarlet and Wolf. Even though I'm also, like, I say that and I'm like, ugh. Again, I definitely see how it's, like, equal.
Yeah.
But I think, like, for me, I do really, really like Cinder and Kai, but I wanted to see more. Like, I wanted to see, like, when she wasn't queen, how their interaction was diplomatically if they were queen. Like, I kind of just wanted to see that a lot more. And I think if the author gave me more, they would have been, like, a lot higher.
Yeah.
I think I just like Scarlet so much, and I like the idea of them just, like,
I think
living on their farm and farming, and, like,
when I tell you, you're gonna be so happy with a short story in Stars Above.
Do I get to see them farm, or do I get to see more of Kai and Cinder?
I'm just saying you're gonna be really happy with it, but you do need to get through. It's the last short story. Yeah, she really did us like that. She said, you want to see how happy the characters are? Yeah, read through Trauma. Until then, the short story collection is, like, literally, it's all, like, short backstories of the characters, which is why I guess Libby was trying to say that you could read the short stories in between some of the books.
Oh.
And I was like, I guess. But I was like, I don't, like, if the author doesn't think you need to read that backstory right there, like, yeah, I was just like, you don't need it. Like, it's not really, it's not that much new or shocking, but it's just, like, it's mostly stories that, like, you've that the characters have mentioned, but you get to like see it. So it was like there's Cinder with her adopted father, and it's like on there's a scene between them. Very cute.
I want that.
Yeah, it's really cute. There's one of like Thorn when he was like in elementary school or like really young, and then there's one of Cress when she is with like the rest of the kids.
Oof.
And she first like meets Sybil and stuff. That bitch.
I'm surprised you hate her so much.
Just the two Thermages. Like, she died, and I was like, hey, thank God no one could be a worse bitch than her. Oh, like,
no, because you were ranting to me about Sybil, and I was like, she's not, like, terrible. Like, she hasn't done anything that is making me super mad. And then, what was it? Amory?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I was surprised.
Oh my God.
I was like, he's actually terrible.
See, you just read it so fast that I didn't have time to think about Amory. Like, I was like,
You read it.
But do you recognize who like Amory's character is supposed to be
in Snow White?
Mm-hmm.
Is he the Hunt? No.
Mm-mm.
What is he supposed to be? I haven't read the Grimm fairy tale of Snow White.
He's the magic mirror because he's who says like the lines of being like no, like to Lavanna. And like he's who she turns to, and he's like always telling her like, no, that everybody loves you, like you're the most like beautiful woman in all of Luna.
I should have got that.
Yeah, I don't know when I caught that. There's a lot of things that like I think I got so caught up in this story that I completely forgot that they were based on fairy tales at a certain point, and like it's just funny sometimes like talking about it, and like because even like I'll be talking about Scarlet, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, her grandma gets taken because it's Little Red Riding Hood, obviously. Like, it's so funny. Like, I just completely forget that it's, like, based on something.
Yeah. Do you like that when I was reading Winter, I was like, is Cinder and everybody the Seven Dwarfs?
Oh, I liked that. I actually really liked that theory.
It's that.
Yeah.
What else could be the Seven Dwarfs?
So, we considered that, the town that Wolf is from that, like, houses them and stands with them are miners. Yeah, it's the mining district. So that's what I always considered. I was like, there's not technically 7, but I was like, but it's like they house them and they protect them, and they're the ones, they're like the first district that like follows.
All the 7 of them end up living in all the 7 end up living in, and they house Winter.
Yeah.
And they're all together.
I'm not sure exactly. Like, I guess we're not counting Jason, because I think if you count him, it's 8. But I think otherwise...
No.
Like...
Thorn, Cinder, Cress, Jason, Wolf.
Iko?
I don't think Iko is... Kai. So I meant all of those. But I guess you could...
You would have to count Iko then.
Okay, well then get rid of Kai, because he was never there.
No, but you only have 6 right now, so...
Oh, Kai. Yes, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I know this is a podcast.
She was holding up 6 fingers. Like, anyway, no, that's why when you said that, I was like, are you
Iko? It's Iko.
So, I personally read it as Iko, and that's
Iko.
what I know, but I'm keeping it. I can't change.
Iko sounds awful.
But I can't change.
What is she, like environmentally friendly?
I like Iko. I think it's cute.
She's recycling? Is that what you're calling her?
Iko.
Her sexy ass bod is recycling to you?
Anyway,
eco-friendly, goodness.
No, I just put together that it was like they were in a mining city, and that was like the whole point of like that people were like dying because of like mining and stuff.
I didn't even think of that. I was just looking for 7. This was one of my many sleepless nights of this book series.
You're just like the meme with the guy with the red string being like, how could this get out?
Let me picture this. Think of this. I'm struggling to go to bed. So I'm like, might as well put on the audiobook. I'm listening to the audiobook. It's 3 a.m. I'm listening, and then I'm hearing a couple names. I literally paused it, and I went, like, I held up my fingers and was like, and I was like, wait, that makes 7.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was about to text you, and then I was like, it's 3 a.m. I can't have her knowing I'm thinking about this at 3 in the morning.
Oh my god. No, that's an amazing, like, obviously that's what it is. That's crazy. And, like, Yeah. No, that's so cool. Like, I love that.
The mining thing I didn't even catch on though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
right
like
over my head.
because when she gets put in the coffin, it's in like that. It's with those people, and they're the ones that like do that for her when she eats like the apple.
Yes, which I loved.
Yeah,
And the whole entire part of Snow White's story fulfilling, out of all the other ones, that was the most I actually enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
Like, although Ryu,
Yeah.
well, they said like Ryu in the book. In
Oh, was
the
she doing it?
audiobook.
Oh, was it because it was from Scarlett's perspective?
Oh. Or
Yeah.
Ryu. Or so, I don't even know how to pronounce it.
It's R-Y-U. So I always said Ryu. But...
Oh, well, she also says Ryu. Or
yeah,
I don't know.
We don't gotta agree. It's a fantasy book.
But that actually... Well, also, she's on the fucking cover. The dog is on the wolf is on the cover, so I was like, they're fine. And I was like, this is an evil illustrator. Yeah. To like, that's smart of them to like put it on the cover because you don't expect it. Because you
gotta show that she's friends with the animals.
I know, but I just didn't expect the dog to die or the wolf to die. And then she keeps fucking mentioning it throughout the entire book, and I was like, we need to stop this.
Wait,
right
she's
now.
Mentally ill. Wait, she's
unstable.
I
don't need to hear about the dead wolf that I almost cried at. And the entire book, out of all these characters that die, it was the animal that was, because I was like, oh, they're gonna be friends. Wolf and Ryu can go play fetch together. They can bond.
Yeah.
Wolf with his new, like, wolf-like tendencies, they can pack. They can both, like, herd Scarlets. They can help her with the sheep on the farm.
Yeah. It was rough.
I pictured it. I pictured a beautiful future.
Almost every character has, like, someone in their family died. Because Cinder has Peony, and then Kai has his father. And then Scarlet, like, someone dies, at least one person dies in each book. And then Scarlet has her grandmother. And then Wolf has his mom. And Cress has the doctor. And then Winter has the wolf. And then Thorn and Jason are just chilling over here with like
two parents. Or, well, I don't know. Who are even Thorn's parents?
I mean, they're just Americans somewhere. Like, they don't matter at all. Like, that's why I thought that one of Jason's parents were dead, because I was like,
they say dad or parents. Mom is never given any context.
Yeah. That's why I was like, she has to have like died like in like a while ago. Like, I was like, that's why I genuinely was like, I'm not even trying to give spoilers. I thought she was dead. Like,
yeah.
And because you were like, does she die then? And I was like, girl, I don't even know this character. Like,
I think I said the parents would. If it does, the parents die. Did you like all my death predictions?
Yeah, I mean, you were pretty like you were doing what I do by just saying naming every character, and then you can be like, I was right, and it's like, well, you like.
Okay, who did I name? I said Aiko.
And Torin.
Torin should have died. I hate
Kai
to say it.
has been through so much.
I hate to say it, but he was prime.
Yeah.
He stood up in way too many areas where he should not have.
Yeah.
And I think he should have done it.
I think that I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, these characters need a parental figure, and every other parental figure is dead or evil. So I feel like Torin has to come through, because like, who else is gonna be there?
I know, but when he was going on, he's like, oh, I kind of like Torin reminds me of like me when I'm older. Like, he was talking about that, and I was like, he's gonna go.
Yeah,
he's done. Because I was like, oh, he's done his job as parental figure.
Mm-hmm.
Kai. So I was like, assumed. Who's the other person that I was like is gonna die?
Other than Iko,
that actually died. There's one person. Oh, Wolf's mom.
Yeah,
I was like,
Wolf's mom. I think like, yeah, that was rough. I was really upset by that. And I mean, obviously, like, I cried at Peony's death, but like, that's just
you did.
It was like sisters. I can't deal with that. Like, you want to hear? Amanda's gonna hate me for this, but apparently when she was reading Cinder the first time, she was like up late at night one time and like genuinely like worked herself into like a panic, being like, there's like, the plague is gonna come back and people in my family are gonna get it and they're gonna die and all of this stuff. And I was like, that's so sad. But yeah, she like got really like sad about it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so I think like that just hit me hard, because it's like, if I have to imagine a sibling dying, it's
see, I would never know.
Yeah, like, we're going down. that's what the dog is for you.
Yeah. Because also I wasn't expecting that. I had a beautiful, like, I had a full, like...
Yeah, you had a story planned.
No, I was so excited. I was like, they get a pet. This is the best thing.
Yeah.
No. That was my Bambi.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I would say, like, Jason's, like, I could claim that it's like, oh, well, he, like, he has to, like, kill, in air quotes, Winter, and he kills the wolves, so, like, maybe those are, like, the deaths in his life. But, like, Thorn is just literally just here for no reason.
By the way, I think Jason needs a hobby.
Jason, why?
He's too obsessed with that woman. Like, I'm so happy that she gets a caregiver like that, but he needs, like, that's gonna be future resentment. He's, like, 20 right now. Like, he's been taking care of this woman forever. I just feel like he needs something else to put his... That was the only reason why he was not hired, because I was like, he's been so focused on Winter for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I need something else for his character. What if he, like, likes to play music secretly, or like, what if he likes doing something else? I honestly would think I would have liked him a lot. That's again, Wolf and him, they just need a hobby. What if
the two characters that grew up in that type of,
like, I just like, what if Wolf
in the kingdom
secretly likes to do wood carving?
Yeah,
and he like steals wood or like something, or he like while Scarlet and him are on the train, like he's like doing a wood carving of her. Like, oh my gosh, yeah,
that was so funny.
Which was Scarlet. His hobby was his girlfriend.
No, both of them have just been like so conditioned to like not. I mean, Jason too. Why am I calling him Jason? Like, Jason, like, yeah. I mean, he was just like trained from such a young age to be a guard, and then it was like he
wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah. Oh.
They need to talk about that more then. Every time they mentioned it, I was happy when they mentioned that, but again, I forgot. So
yeah, the fact like he became a guard to protect Winter is so sad.
I also wanted to see. I wanted more information about when Winter became, like, when they put the chip in and stuff. I feel like that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't really get much more about that. You do get, there's a short story of why she stopped using her glamour, I believe.
Well, that was, they talked about that in the book, that it was because she stopped a girl from committing suicide. And the girl was one of,
Armory.
A's, one of the A's, like, women that he was, like,
assaulting.
Yeah, and then she still committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So she realized, which I think is just like, I'm like, that's a specific case.
Yeah, but she realized controlling people isn't okay.
I was like, you know, a little glamour here, a little glamour there. It doesn't. Yeah, and you stay sane. Like, I just, it's like taking a tablet in the morning. Just like glamour your eyes for like 2 seconds and then done.
Like doing it in her room by herself.
Or, like, Jason's right there. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, just make it look like you have horns for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If you're playing a game, like, make it look like he got ketchup on his shirt. Like...
Yeah. I think, like, I guess she just makes that decision, like, at such a young age. And then, like... Because, yeah, when you were like, oh, she needs to use it now, I was like, ooh, if she uses it now. Her brain is not... Because I think they describe it as, like, a muscle. So it's, like... Yeah, because at the end she goes so hard and then she like almost kills herself, and I'm like, well, that's not what we wanted. Like,
see, what I really wanted was like God complex. Like, she uses it and everyone realizes that she was super powerful, and that's why she didn't use it, because she didn't want the queen to. Yeah, but alas,
that would be nice. But I think her character more is that her power is being nice, and she's the people's princess, and that's how she gets all of the communities to back behind her, because she's like so pretty. Nice. No, because she is respectful and she treats
she's
people
hot. That's what everyone says. They're like, she's so gorgeous.
Yeah. They have to go over that, but at the same time, like, she's actually like beloved because she's not anything like Levana,
and she's got like the longest lashes and like the. She is hot though. I was looking at her fan art and I was like, everyone did their job here.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
But I think speaking of theories that I had during the series, what's the one theory that you had me believing was not my own with the plague?
That was, girl, the way like 20 minutes after that you were like, you can't lie to me, and I was like,
so I was
context, like, oh my god, I can't tell you.
For context, at the beginning of Cinder, like within 20%, I took a screenshot of how far I was, and then Morgan and I FaceTimed very quickly after there.
Yeah.
And I was talking about all my opinions about some of the characters early on. I was talking about some theories I had. I had some really crazy ones that I don't even remember. Some of them were wacky. I feel
like most of them weren't crazy.
Well, you looked at me like I was crazy. It made me feel a little crazy.
Maybe, I'm trying to remember. I don't, like,
I don't remember some weird shit with the doctor.
You were convinced his height had something to... Listen, could you put that together now? What his height was a reference to?
Yes, I understand now, but, like, it was just referenced so much. I was like, this is not a short king.
Yeah.
He is an insecure king. I also, for a millisecond, I thought he was evil.
I could see that, yeah.
I mean,
he started the draft, so
but also I was like, he's upset. Like, what was interesting was the author was really good at leading me astray because his assistant at the beginning of the book was like, oh, another woman. It's weird that you're interested in women cyborgs as a way of being like, he's like sexually interested. Yeah. And just because he was looking for Cinder the whole time.
No, his story is so crazy. Like, just... I feel like I need, like, a timeline of how everyone's, like, of how Scarlett's grandmother and him and, like, the other guy, just, like, everything that was happening. Because I'm, like, it's we need
the Fantastic Four. Like, we need,
like, I want stories about them, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking,
like, Yeah, just because, like, the way that, like, he brought him, because he was having, who was having a relationship with Scarlett's grandmother? Was it him?
No, I thought it was... Okay. I thought that... No, it wasn't a Lunar Man?
I think it was a Lunar Man.
I don't think it was him.
Was it, like, just another doctor? Man?
At first, before I found it was a Lunar Man, I thought that Audrey's husband was cheating.
That would be pretty funny. Yeah.
I think that could have been actually a really interesting plot. I actually think it would have been really interesting if Cinder's stepdad was Lunar, and that meant that Audrey's children were Lunar, and she didn't know. Because then she's like given all this, anyways. But anyway, so one of the theories I had at the beginning of the book was I was like, what if the plague is biological warfare? Yeah. Because I was like, that would make it so much more interesting than just like COVID. And Morgan was very good at selling me that so what she did was instead of like saying like, no, or like dismissal or being like, oh, that's interesting, you stroked my ego. And you were like, that would have made a better story. And I was like, yeah. Like, bitch, I should have wrote this.
Also, like, at first, I looked off screen and I was like, oh. And then you immediately were like, it's dumb. I don't need to. And then I was like, anyway, so Cinder and Kai. Like, and then later I was like, no, that would have been a really good plot. And like,
because I kept bringing it up because I was like, I'm so disappointed. Like, this is such a good opportunity.
No, you literally said the words like, I think I would have written a better story because I would have added this in. And I was like, girl, there's 3 more books. Like,
well, that was my book 2. You didn't find that out until book 3.
Yeah.
And then when they started going along the trail of like Lunar's getting it, I was like, okay, so it's like manipulating. And
that like, Lunar's can't get it.
Yeah, and I was like, Lunar's can't get it, but like now it's managed to get it. And then I was like, but then I think I caught on this really early, which I was surprised. But they kept talking about shells being like, because they can't mentally investigate them, and then Cress being saved and finding out that they didn't actually kill him. I was like, they're using them for something. I was like, what could they use them for? Yeah. And so like I kind of was thinking about, but I was like, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, you're really good at like like, yeah, you got that, like, I don't know why this is making me be like Matt Mercer, but like you're trained that like you put stuff together really well.
I'm just Sherlock looking.
Yeah. No. I think I was like heading towards that path when I was reading the books, but I was like, oh, Lavanna killed Kai's dad. But I didn't put together that she created like the entire plague. I was just like, I think she gave him the plague.
Okay, we're back. With slightly different audio now because our mic might have died. So now you just have to imagine that we don't have a cute little mic. But anyway, we were just following up on how Lavanna acts like kind of like a vampire but also isn't it funny that she made the evil queen not be able to look in mirrors? Like, yeah,
well, I saw that and I was like, yeah, I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, it made me think. I like that, like, all the little, like, I think that's what actually made me want to read the books more too, is because I love me a fairy tale retelling, and I loved that it was like a hide and seek with the book, because you were like looking for information.
Do you know what else I missed the first time when I tell you I got so into the story, it was bad. Like, so with Winter, once again, Amanda was like reading this chapter out loud, and it got to the part where Lavanna looks like an old woman and is talking, or like there's an old woman talking to Winter in the woods and giving her candy. No. And I was just sitting there, and then Amanda literally stopped reading. I think it was after like Winter, she hadn't eaten them yet, but she like took them, and Amanda like stopped and looked at me and was like, do you know what just happened? And I was like, yeah, she just got, and then I was like, oh.
I'm like, shaking my head aggressively at this.
Yeah, I just completely forgot. I forgot that it was based on Snow White. So I was like, oh yeah, that's a plot that's gonna happen. Like, I just forgot because I was so involved in like the war and like the planning, that I was like, oh my god, like literally that threw such a big wrench in like the plot. I feel like not the plot, but I was like, no, but we have plans though. But she can't fall asleep right now.
I was so excited about that, because when that all happened, I was like, yes, the candy apple, it's a great reference. And then she's down. I was like, and when it said it was the plague, I was like, this is 10 times better.
And it fit in so well.
I was happy. I was excited. And I was like, I don't care that this fucks I'm happy.
Yeah.
And then they put her in, and like, there's only one
in
left.
Like the chamber.
And I was like, oh, you know what? This chamber specifically just happens to be glass and super pretty.
Exactly.
And I was like,
no, I love that it like, whenever she connects stuff to the fantasy or to the fairy tales, it doesn't feel like she just threw it in to be like, but this connects, guys. Like, it, because it's like they had mentioned like the water chambers like multiple times, and they had like mentioned the plague multiple times, and I was like, yeah, like this all makes sense.
Also, I hate to say it, this book made me have a revelation on another. This is my dumb you moment. Had a revelation on another retelling, which is Mirror Mirror, the movie Mirror Mirror.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that what I forgot what his name is.
Is it raining?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can see it.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name is, but the queen's like second hand man, like the servant or whatever who he is, was the huntsman. Because he goes out to take her to the woods to kill her, and then he frees her, and I was like, that was something I should have just like, I don't even know why I didn't even think about it that way. But then when I was reading this version of the huntsman, I was like, oh.
Oh my god, this was another thing that you were like so smart with, the catching on in Cress, that I think it was just the fact that Jason had a hunter's knife, and you were like, oh, is he gonna be the huntsman? And yeah, I love that. No, because it was like, like I feel like I don't want you to get every single thing, but like I loved you catching on like all the small things, which is why when we were talking about Rapunzel, I was like, you need to look up the story right now, because I was like, you need to be able to catch things. Like, you're not gonna like
the long explanation of Thorne's name.
I didn't want to just tell you. I was like, I want you to have like...
You honestly needed to at that point, because like I didn't know, I forgot the whole story about Rapunzel, and that Rapunzel's man falls from the tower and then loses his eyesight due to thorns. Yeah. And you were telling me that, and I was like, okay.
I was
And
just
then-
like traumatized by that a little when I was younger, so I just remember.
I had never really heard about it until I did Into the Woods. And Into the Woods, they don't even really... I don't even think they do it.
I think he does go blind, but it's
Does
in the
he?
second part.
Oh.
Yeah.
But anyways, so, like... I mean, I've seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so then you were like, Thorns. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what's his name? And I was like, Thorn. Oh.
Yeah. It's
and
his.
I felt stupid.
What's his first
Hey,
name?
but you didn't get the Rampion.
I know, I
That
didn't.
was because of our discussion.
Yeah, that was impressive. Yeah, I never put that was so cool. I mean, I didn't even know that was like an actual word. I just thought she made it up. But yeah, and just like the way that it's like, so that like Rampion or Rapunzel is the reason that the witch takes the baby in the actual story. So then, and there's just one could draw a connection that it's like the Rampion is the thing that brought like Thorn to her, that like tries to save her and like isn't able to, and like it's just so interesting.
I will say though, like Thorn became my favorite character. Like he very quickly, once he stopped being a total womanizer, like, and he started interacting with everyone else, like not just Cinder one-on-one. But honestly, like once they started, like he was just helping her out, I started really liking him.
Yeah.
And then I just liked that he was just like dependable the entire time.
Yeah.
And I just like, and the way he treated Cress, when he started treating Cress and he was just immediately sweet and kind.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I actually really appreciate this. Because I hate to say it, Flynn Rider, I don't think would have done that.
Oh.
In my opinion, I think Flynn Rider would have like, cause I mean, obviously though, like, I mean, in a different situation, like, I guess if Flynn was, like, with a bunch of other people that cared for it, he would. But I would think of Flynn Rider as somebody that would just, like, leave to go protect himself.
Yeah. I also don't think Cress is that much like Rapunzel in Tangled.
Yeah.
They have because Rapunzel is very, like, outgoing and, like, and she's literally, like, blackmailing Flynn into being there.
Yeah.
So it's very different, like, scenario.
I actually really, I think Cress and Thorn would be my favorite characters if Tangled, like Tangled's or Rapunzel's energy in Tangled was actually Cress. Because I think like I like characters more that are super strong-minded. I think if Cress was like this strong-minded character, like if Scarlet was Cress and like gave Thorn a run for his money, I would have loved that. But also I love Cress and Thorn's interactions. Like it's super sweet. Because
I would argue that it's like, do you want 4 main couples that all act the same?
No.
Or like 4 like main female characters that all act the same?
Oh no. Well, I mean, I'm also saying it's like I'm saying like I think that the way they have it set up is perfect. Like the way that all the characters balance off each other is amazing. But I would have liked a specific couple more if this happened.
Yeah, I could see that. I also, do you think that Thorn was, like, a womanizer and, like, sexist in the beginning, or do you think it was more, like, a persona he was putting on? And then when he, like, got alone and, like, basically almost dying in the desert and, like, he didn't have anyone to, like, put on a persona for, it, like, kind of went away?
I think you do it enough, you will end up becoming a womanizer. I think even if it was a joke, I'm sure some part of him... I
don't think it was a joke. I think he wanted to be seen like that, so he was, like, putting it on.
I don't know.
And, like...
A real feminist wouldn't do it.
I don't think he's a feminist. No. Don't get me wrong. No, I think that he got caught. My headcanon is, like, he got caught and his head, he had a real Luigi story. Like, his headshot went everywhere and all the women were like, wow, he's so hot. And then I think he saw all of, like, the fame he got from that and it, like, went to his head.
He liked that girl in elementary school or middle school that was supposed to help him with his paper. I think he liked women and he liked their gussies forever and ever.
Yeah, I think he's an attention whore. And I think, like, he puts on the persona to get attention, and then the second... And then the second he's, like, alone in the desert and he can't get attention, and he actually has to, like, be a mature adult and, like, do stuff. Because when he's with Cinder, he's like, yeah, Cinder's doing everything, it's fine. But in this scenario, like, this was like Cress's first time being on it. Yeah, like he really had to step up, and yeah.
I loved him being serious. I was like, I know that's what I've never actually experienced a character where I have that much of an arc, really. But so I think this book rewrote a lot of nevers.
Yeah,
and that's why I liked it so much.
But yeah, the whole time they were in when they were so close, and then she got kidnapped. When I was first reading that book, I almost was like, I think I did put it down. I had to like take a lap because I got so pissed off. I was like, I was like, they just happened to all be in Africa in the same like a few miles, and like I was so mad.
Well, the minute that like she grabbed her, I was like, there's only one person that wants shells, and that's the doctor. And I was like,
okay,
she's
see,
going.
I didn't put that together.
The minute she started asking her if she was a shell, and like she admitted it, I was like, oh, she's gonna get got. Because this is what I was also thinking. I was like, he created another draft. Like the doctor created another draft. Instead of cyborgs, he's looking for shells. And people are gonna find out, and they're gonna start trying to steal him shells. And he just happens to be in Africa, where there's a large population of lunars. And I'm like, he's single-handedly about to start a trafficking situation.
I know.
And then I was thinking this because I was like, this is crazy. And then Cress got like they grabbed her, and I was like, oh, bit this bitch.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, now Thorne is gonna have to figure out. He's blind, and he's gonna have to figure out. And I was like, oh, that escort droid is about to. Also, but the excitement I felt when I realized the escort droid was for Aiko.
It's so cute, dude.
I had some little faith in him
so much. I was like, that is the sweetest thing ever.
He was going for that escort droid, and I was like, this fucking womanizer.
Yeah, I was like, are you serious, right? You have a wife.
Yeah.
Like, no, that was crazy. I mean, she didn't have to be like sitting in his lap or anything. That was kind of extra, but no, anyways, one of my favorite scenes is when he runs in and she goes, she's like, Thorne, be careful, there's a doctor that's experimenting on lunars, and there's,
that whole interaction made me stressed.
And there's like, why am I blocking the name for Wolf? But there's a lunar, soldier, and then I think...
Operative.
Yeah, like special operative. And then there's was Jason also there? Like,
yes.
Yeah, and then it was
and she knew Jason brought Sybil to her.
So she's
for
like,
a
so
year.
He's evil. So then she was like, and there's a lunar soldier, and then he's like going around, and then he goes, wait, can you give me that descriptive again?
or like Wolf spoke.
Yeah,
and then he was like, wait, Wolf? And he's like, oh, Cress, you have me worried.
Yeah. I was like, well, she didn't know. Like, she's literally surrounded by 3 lunars. Obviously, and I was like, yeah, their description sounds awful. But I was so weird because he had a gun, and I was like, no, Thorne, let's talk. Let's think here. Like,
yeah, and I was like, the only person that could help them possibly is Cinder, and she's just like in this ship.
Yeah, no,
she's like,
so funny. I was like, oh my god. Oh, and then when he finds out that they painted his ship.
Well, no, what I love is, like, he goes in and he's like, oh, there's just another rampion here. And he's like, or Cress saw that. She's like, but it said that it's not painted lady and it's painted black. And I was like, oh, the one time you need it.
Yeah.
The one time you need it. But
they were like, I know if this was a movie, they would do that annoying thing where it's like, people, like, they, like, pass each other randomly, or it's like they walk out the door right as someone else is walking in, and I'd be like, oh, you man, just get.
Well, what had me stressed was they kind of did that with her dad. Like, I thought that she was actually going to run from the facility.
Yeah, no, all the texts you were getting where you were like, and he didn't leave a message, and this fucking idiot, and I was like, no, just wait. Like,
but no, that was just because, like, when he was trapped. But, like, seriously, with her dad, I was like, when he found out she was her dad and, like, he couldn't find her, I was like, but then he did the bullshit where he was like, oh, but she'll hate me. And I'm like, but she's been dreaming about you.
Yeah.
Like, since she was born.
What were you supposed to do? I mean, like, the only thing he could have done was take her and flee. And, like flee Luna.
I just really think, like, I mean, also we had the forethought of knowing that she helped previous kids. Like, but I also was like, I just have read too many books. And I very quickly started realizing that this author, when she says something, it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Which
What
I love.
I told you with the short thing. Because you were like, why did they keep mentioning it? And I literally said that I was like, she almost never makes a point of saying something if it's not going to connect.
Okay, but that was way too often. It was like, he looked up, cursed him for being short. Cinder, she was taller than him. Cinder looked down at him.
I think it was just so that the first time they mentioned that Cress is short, we would connect the two.
But I just was like, I was like, if he had short king energy, because I was like, he's already a villain. He's sexualizing these robots. He's like experimenting on them, and he's short.
Yeah.
Oh, for all B, get him out of here.
Yeah.
But no, overall, I actually really, really enjoyed the series. I fear that it has now put me in a book rut.
What?
Because, well, at least, I just mean, like, the audiobooks were so good that I just started a new book, and it's a shadow. A complete shadow of those books. And so now I don't know what to read.
Yeah. I mean, I would recommend the short stories, but, like,
break.
they're not the happiest other than, like, the last one. So, because all of them have, like, tragic backstories. So it's really sad, but and she adds in a like another retelling of The Little Mermaid, but it's like the Grimm fairy tale Little Mermaid, so that's also sad.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
Well, I think also for me, like 4 books was just the amount for me to like spam read. If there had been another book, I think I would have had to take a break.
Yeah,
and
that
so
makes
that's
sense.
why I'm glad. Which also apparently Puss in Boots was supposed to be.
I don't know how she could have. What do you mean? Like, would she have made them like an android? Like, I
was upset.
Would it have been a cat? Like, I'm confused.
I guess it could. I don't know. All I know is that like I would have wanted. There's so many. I would want an Ariel, like a full Ariel, or like. And, like, what if... I don't even know. Like, what if it was, like, some really tortured shit where it was, like, a human that had a cyborg tail? Like, a mermaid tail.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just... You're like, shut up, Tate.
So it's called The Little Android.
I know. I saw that. Because that was recommended. They actually... I forgot where...
Do you want to look at the titles of all the short stories and try and guess what was happening?
Sure, yeah. As our final
Well, actually, I got other stuff too.
Oh my goodness.
So, okay, actually, before we do that, I'm going to have
Girl, you're gonna miss your show.
I know. Okay, at 7:30 I have to go. But or I don't know. Anyway, I have to
We can come back to this.
But so, hold on. Last summer, I was putting together a collection of fan casts for who I would want to play these characters. And we were talking on the phone, and you were helping me, even though you had no clue any of these characters. And I want to see your reaction to who we fan casted.
Yeah, because I was a part of this choice, and I have no memory now.
Yeah, I will say, Winter is the only one where I don't love it, but I haven't found someone that's as gorgeous enough to play. Not as gorgeous, but like just gorgeous enough, but also like I feel like has to put out like just such like a peaceful, like ethereal energy. Okay, anyway, so you're gonna have to say who each person is.
That's how you spell Jason?
Yeah. How have you been?
I thought it was Jay.
Oh no.
Jason. Yeah. What the hell?
Okay. So we did this man. The rest is just their like. Which you can look at that later.
That's him. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can see it. I don't want that to be it. Yeah. I think I really like the there's one fan art of him that I really like. Mm-hmm. But
I think because who's
the actor?
Luke
Eisner.
Yeah, he was in Tall Girl.
I know. That's why I'm like I'm
not obsessed with Jason or Winter, but I couldn't find another blonde man that I liked enough.
I think
so. For Winter, we have Sky Jackson, and it's not that I think she looks like her,
like a child.
But she's like 24.
Like she looks like when she was at Disney.
Yeah, I think she looks like her, but the problem is just like I know her personality, and I'm just like you're not giving Winter.
Right.
Like
that's true.
Iko, my love.
Aiko,
my love.
I
this
see
is
this.
Amandla, but with blue hair and braids, and this is just this was the first person I ever thought of when I was reading these books, and I was like, this needs to be her. For Scarlet, we have the actress who you told me to use this girl. The actress who played young redhead in House of Dragon.
Oh, yes, that's where she's from.
I don't remember the character's name, but the redhead who goes after Blondie's father.
Yeah, I think I could help you come up with someone else, because
I really like her though. I feel like she fits.
Cress, I enjoy.
Yes, of course.
Cress is perfect.
Is the only blonde young actress that what's her name? McKenna? Yeah. She's perfect.
No, Cress is great.
Yeah.
That's actually literally, and she acts like how I think Cress would act.
For sure. No, the people for Cress and Thorn are the people I also want for actual Tangled live action. For Thorn, of course, we have Milo Manheim.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a little skinnier
a little
than
bit.
I would think.
Yeah, he needs to be a little more filled out. Like, he's in prison. Come on.
It's like, I think it's him plus Chris Evans. Mm-hmm. Like Chris Evans' bod.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll look at Kai.
Kai was difficult. Kai took me a while. This man isn't who we didn't choose someone for Kai. But then I was watching a Thai drama a few months ago, and this man was in it, and I was like, actually, this man is so attractive, because I have to keep reminding myself, like, apparently every girl in the kingdom is like in love with Kai. So I was like, who's the most attractive like Asian actor I know? And like, yeah. To me, he gives Princely.
I could see that. Let's keep the
I
pairs.
am so proud of this. This might not be who you think of, but when you look at fan art, they all draw her like this. I don't know who this is, so I'm so sorry to Amanda. But she's seen these photos before. But like,
you know who I kind of think of? What's the woman in the Marvel show? With the spies.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a TV show. I'm trying to think of
Cinder
it.
was difficult, but this is like exactly who I picture. Or it's like the closest I could get. She was in that's how I found her. She was in Daisy Jones and the Six.
Shield. No, not Shield.
Agents of Shield?
Agents of Shield. The female character in Agents of Shield.
I don't.
Let me show you. Let me show you.
Because she is supposed to be like kind of ethnically ambiguous.
Like her younger?
I could kind of see that. Yeah, if she was more tan, I could see that. Yeah, okay, I could see that. That's a good option. I could add her in. I just really, really like this girl because she also is like slightly Asian and too. So and also these photos. So this is Aiden. Who? I think it's Aiden something.
You don't know who it is, but you have it added.
I just can't remember his last name right now. But this is my love Aiden, who is also known as Keeley from The Hobbit and is also known as Luke from the City of Bones movie. Yeah. R.I.P. that movie. But he plays this is him as a werewolf. So right.
I just think
so that's what like this photo is from. So obviously he's a little old to play wolf, but I also was like, it's fine. Like I was like, this is the closest I could get.
I think the guy from Rosaline works super well. I think I actually recommended you this man before, but that's kind of like,
it's just so difficult to like fan cast, like because it's like he has to be really strong, but also be like,
you should.
I need to see him like
in Rosaline. Yeah. You need to see him in Rosaline.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is an audio podcast, and I'm showing pictures.
For Wolf, it's difficult because it's like they need to be like really like messed up, like rough looking. Okay.
Oh wait, here
He's a little rough.
We'll
yeah,
pull
I
up.
can see that.
We'll pull up TikToks Oh God.
And and then I also want you to, so those are all of the people. I would just like you to take a gander at all the funny things I've saved over the years about the Lunar Chronicles.
Oh my gosh.
But let me look at my favorites. So, I just had so much fun sending fan art. Like, it was so funny. It was funny because every time you asked for fan art, I was like, so funny thing.
You have everything, right?
Like, well, no, but it was like, I had to be so specific because with Thorn and Cress, it was like that he had like the red bandana over his eyes for most of it. And then my dumbass sent a photo where she had short hair before she cut her hair.
I knew it was gonna go, so it was okay.
And then for Scarlet and Winter, for Scarlet and Wolf, a lot of Wolf ones are after his like last transition. Oh, okay, I could definitely see this man. See, this is so helpful. Okay, yeah, I'll add him. He's not cutting out. Aiden Turner, that's his name. But and then like, yeah, I just like so many. Okay, so this is a really cute fan art of their wedding.
What if I've told you I've seen all these already?
Did you like through mine or
no?
just in general?
I looked through all the fan art everywhere.
That
There's
yeah.
another time where you were giving me nothing, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do a bad thing, and I'm gonna take this into my own hands.
No! Oh my god.
And I didn't spoil anything
That's
for me.
good.
But I started looking at Winter and Jason fan art before I even really met them. I was like, I have to know.
That's good. At least there's not like that much.
There was nothing for them. But like I had seen the book cover, which by the way, this book. Speaking of grounding, it's all from the very beginning. Book art.
Yeah.
The covers, the new cover designs, beautiful, gorgeous. I would love that to be my future. I looked up the artist.
The only one I don't like is specifically Scarlet on the back of her cover, where it's like Wolf holding her, and for some reason she just looks wonky. But other than that, it's okay.
Yeah. Even my actually issue is that with Winter, in the book cover, her neck is way too long.
Yeah. And she also, I feel like she looks a lot older. Like, I don't know. Anyway, this is a funny little meme that it's a clip from. I'm trying to describe it to Amanda. It's a clip from you've definitely seen this from Tangled, and she said something brought you here, fate, destiny, cinder. Like,
oh, okay.
Most of them are from like Thorn because they're very funny. This is the Spider-Man meme, but it's just everyone in that one scene at Crest.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's so many. It's like Cinder with Eco, so I'm not leaving until you laugh, versus Cinder with Thorn. Hey, Panini Head, are you listening to me?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I love Cinder and Thorn, though. They are the cutest.
Once their dynamic started going, I really liked it.
Yeah. Then someone, this one says good. It says, can we all take a moment and be thankful that Marissa Meyer didn't make Cinder, Kai, and Thorn a love triangle instead gave us a male-female friendship, completely platonic, no option of romance, which is incredibly rare for YA.
Yeah, no, I did like that. There was a lot of friendship dynamics. Mm-hmm. But overall, a really good book.
Yeah.
Series, and I'm really glad I read it. And
this is it's just me showing
Scarlet in a nutshell, Cinder and Thorn. It's like the grumpy sunshine dynamic.
Yeah. And
I love us being on an audio portion for Amanda during her
seen these memes.
Drive, and then the silence of you turning the phone towards me and me looking. It's such quality content.
I don't know. You should be happy. Oh, this says, this is us. Girls don't want boys. Girls want, Zaev Kesley to feel loved and never suffer again. Wolf.
Oh, that's his name.
She squinted at me, and I was like, she doesn't know who Zaev is.
I forgot. I think if I saw the writing of it, I would, but I didn't see any of the writing of anybody's name.
Yeah. I'm trying to... Yeah. Oh, I just love how much, other than, like, queer, other than that, there's good representation. Would I love for, like, there to be a little queer romance, yeah, but like I'm okay with it.
She said, "You shall not be fed."
Yeah, but I think she has 2 Asian characters, and then Cinder's like also mixed, and then she has a very like dark-skinned character, and then she has like Cinder being disabled and Winter being like mentally disabled, and then she has Iko, who's also like a mixed character. So I think she has a really good like
group. I wonder if Winter's depiction of being mentally disabled is a good one, but I do not have the grounds to speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. I think that, I mean, I've read a few things of people who are like schizophrenic, and they like they're like, because they don't say that's what it is, but that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And I, not that I've never read something where people are like, oh, it's a perfect representation, but I've read things where people are saying like they like that she's like still shown like love and respect, and like because most books where characters are schizophrenic, it's like that's the entire plot, and then it's like, oh, they're crazy, and like this is how they deal with it. Whereas this was like, no, she still has like friends, and she still has a love story, and she still like does things for the plot. Like she isn't like that much of a hindrance. So yeah, I do like that. A big thing that fans love was when Thorne said that they should put Cinder in rice after she drowned.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I'm happy that there's just no love triangle in general in all of the books. I'm like, yes, thank you. Did you put together who Iko is supposed to? She has a little slight romantic
the mouse
thing. No, she has a little romantic thing. Yeah.
Like she likes somebody?
She has some banter in these books, and then
with Thorne?
Winter, no. And then Iko has her own books. She has I think it's Renegade. No, I don't know if it's Renegades. It's another book. But there's a little collection of, I think, graphic novels of
Iko?
Yeah, of her like going to do something, and she's with a character that it was introduced in Winter. And I don't know, because I never read these, so I don't know if they actually get together or if this is just a ship. But the guard that she has banter with that was supposed to kill her in Wolf's house, and they
Can
she
feel love?
Yeah, she loves Cinder.
I know, but yeah.
No, she 100% can feel love.
I mean, yeah, she's but could she have sex?
So here's my thing.
She's an escort droid.
Yeah, that's true. I think physically she could, but do you mean mentally? Do you think she would even want? I love. Listen, if we're gonna headcanon here, I would love to make her asexual, but because I think that would make sense.
But who cares about those people? No, I'm kidding.
Apparently not J.K. Rowling. Did you see that?
Fuck them, not actually.
And then
I'm gonna miss your thing.
This is more important.
What do you mean? It's your senior photo.
I don't know those people.
Amanda, you need to set your sister straight.
Oh my goodness.
She's putting her friends over other people. Actually, that's a good thing. But.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna miss it for this?
I'm just gonna finish off real quick, okay? The moment between Cress and Thorne when he says oh, there's one person I know who's here who isn't using a glamour, and he's trying to flirt with Cress, and then she goes, oh yeah, the Thermages, and he's like, bitch, we'd love to see it. Okay, I guess
Cress's outfit.
Her little dress is so cute. Yeah, there's just so many. There's so many things I could be reading right now, but it's just years. The only thing I will say is that sometimes the fan art gets a little silly, where they like to be like annoying and draw Winter as like light skin and draw Scarlet as like thin. So we love to see it.
Scarlet as thin.
Yeah, she's always described as like being really curvy. I think the only times it makes sense is after imprisonment and she was like starved. I get after that, but like, yeah, like she's always described as like being like curvy and like being a woman and being all of this. And like
You mean being like a child?
Like, yeah, they just make her like she's canonically supposed to be like thicker than all the other women. And yeah.
But that's not okay.
I don't know. So yeah. But those are our final thoughts. I'm so happy you decided to read them. Yeah, this filled out an hour and a half. So
yeah. I mean, it was a worthwhile like time talking about it, and I'm glad I did not have a nightmarish repeat of a previous event.
Yeah, I think we're all glad about that. But no, I'm so happy you liked it. I just like the minute you started being like worried about the characters and being like in Winter and Cress, when you were like, no, now I'm stressed, I don't like this. I was like, stress is good. Stress means you care. Yeah, and this is good.
Let's see someone. Oh, make it stop. It's I said fuck the way I gasped. A shocking line. I'm stressed. These are some of the comments I made during this.
I will say like Wolf being turned into like one of the soldiers actually like made me sick.
I was like, just, honestly, I was like, ugh, I didn't really care what happened. Like, I was
like what he looked like.
Well, I did. I was like, I was like, that's the only thing that's important. Does he look different?
He does, yeah.
And I thought it was kind of crazy. I was like, I don't know.
He doesn't look as much like a wolf, but yeah, like his jaw is different and he has like more fang. No, that's the thing. That is my biggest thing, that I'm like, it wasn't reversible. Are you fucking serious? Like, I was so angry. Oh my god. And you know what? I still am. Because he goes through so much, and you hear this in his stupid little sad backstory too, and it's just like, that was like literally his like worst nightmare. And he did everything in his life to be like a good like special op, so that he would never be turned into that. Because like when he's the other thing, like you're kind of like higher rank, so you still have like mind control and you still have like a personality and you still like all these things, which like he shows that he can beat that, so that's good. But like he thought all of those were just like mindless beings that like have no like autonomy, and just like that horrified me. I was like, I actually, like, when I was rereading it and it kept getting closer, and like when you're rereading it, you notice more that they make so many references to those guys, and like I was just like, oh my god, it made me so sad. And that's awful. But it also is a little bit of like Beauty and the Beast kind of.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, also there's fan art of Cinder and Scarlet and Thorn having jackets that say the like the Missing Finger Club, which I think is very fun. I love that that's where she draws the line. She's like, listen, I'm not gonna like blow off a leg or anything, but like 3 characters are gonna lose a finger. I think that's so funny. But yeah, the final scene in general, I think you were just locked in because you didn't text me like at all during that.
I was ready to get that done. I was like, this is too. That's I think why winter is not high for me, because it was just stress.
Yeah. No, everything, just that whole final scene, I love. Like, it was so awful, like, stressful, but, like, I am also just obsessed with it. Like, when she runs in and, like, Thorn is on the edge and he's, like, telling her that it's okay, that, like he's willing to take that. And then later when, like, when more people keep coming in and she's, like, stop because she's just gonna, like, glamour you guys, like, they weren't helpful at all. And
when she was able to be glamored, that's when I went, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was...
And then the fact that, like, Cress had to, like, shoot Thorn, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, and then, like...
His wife is white as my fingers.
They almost did the stupid ass when she was like, I'm gonna not forgive Lavanna, but when she was like, if I kill her, I'm just as bad. And I was like, I was cursing her out, and then thank God they actually killed her, because, like, yeah. I'm just so happy. I was like, yeah, no, she deserves to die. Like, would have been awful. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this extra long episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. And comment your favorite part down below.
And don't crash. Drive safe.
Drive safe.
Get some snacks. Get some Dr. Pepper at a gas station.
Yeah. All right. Love you. Bye.